Hello and welcome to Intuitive Clarifications with Natasha. I'm so grateful to be here with you, and I'm so grateful to have the time that I had off. And I apologize for not being there, but yet it seemed like every holiday season it was going to fall on the first. It was going to fall on my Wednesday, Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, and that kind of thing. And I want to honor everybody's life where there was supposed to be. So with that, I had a good, terrific time on my trip. I went down to Florida, spent some time with my mother-in-law and some nieces, and actually my stepson and his new wife and kids were there too. So it was amazing having some friendships and some family time. And I'm so grateful to be able to support myself that way and, and have the enjoyment of that. And, it was like, but I think that everybody had something to learn over the holidays. And so I'm just so grateful that I am here with you on this day hello, Veronica. Thank you for being here with me. I'm so grateful for all your support in the conversation yesterday. It helped me a lot. I know that I went through some big shifts and changes this last couple weeks, and the planets just seem to set us up for that. And that's up to your belief system. I'm into my belief system. And the agenda today's show is going to be about riding the wave of life, right? We're riding a lot here. And I know that a lot of us are struggling with why am I, what is my purpose in life right now? I'm just kind of lost in my life right now. I'm just kind of not sure where I'm supposed to go. I know that a lot of people are feeling their bodies are like, like I actually laid down for a quick little nap today, because my body was telling me that it needed to. And, it's one of those things that as you go forward and as you're pushing forward that, it's like your body just kind of says, why am I even doing this for? Right. And so with that, I even started taking some iron, and I'm usually one that I can't take iron because of the way my body reacts to it. I try to get iron in a healthier way, like eating meat and I'm not necessarily a spinach person, but yet I try to get my iron in a healthier way. And yet I had to go to the co-op, and luckily the woman who was there, she can't take iron either, and she gave me she said, "Here, try this." And I did, and actually I muscle tested my body, said I could. So I'm going to try it. I'm going to take it a couple times because, it's like my body, I'm almost feeling like I'm not feeling like I have a cold or anything like that, like a lot of people are feeling right now. And I'm not a doctor by any means, but I'm feeling phlegmy, that phlegmy. So I'm going to take myself off of all dairy. And the dairy is butter, chocolate, even orange juice can cause phlegm for some reason, it's one of those things that when you're feeling phlegmy and low iron, it was like my muscles just actually climbing upstairs was like tiring to me. And it's like my body's been going through a lot. There's been a lot of people that have um been sick around me, and so I've just tried to not I'm not getting sick and all, but yet this is how my body reacts to having it kind of walk by. I'm gonna say it will walk by me with just a little bit feeling phlegmy and that kind of thing. So it's not necessarily that I'm in a bad place, but it's just where, when you are, going through something, it's better to take yourself off of all dairy, butter, cheeses, the because it does create a lot more phlegm in the body, and even if you're not lactose intolerant, you can still get phlegmy and mucusy, right? And that clogged up feeling. And when we're in the midst of a lot of our story and a lot of where we're at, that we can get like these walk by, I'm going to call them scenarios. And so this is where it's better to take care of yourself. And I've been taking a little bit more zinc and a little bit more C and a little bit more B's because my emotions have been all over the place. And I know for me that, over the weekend, my body, or over this last couple weeks, that my nervous system got hit. Flying on airplanes, being around a lot of people, not being able to make decisions, because of the people who had kids, when there's 5 kids involved and they're in that age where they're, from 5 to 12 years old, it's like they have to be you entertain them a little bit more and do things with them, and so I was not in charge of a lot of the decisions being made, even though I could have input, but I wasn't having necessarily decisions being made. And so there's a lot of, oh, we need to go here. No, we don't have enough time to do that. And, a lot of these decision makings. And then, when people around you that don't necessarily negotiate that well, that's a little bit of an impact on the nervous system. And my body has had a lot of, fear and flight in it during these my lifetime from very little when I was being bullied when I was a little kid. And so the nervous system, and that's part of our nervous system thing right now that we're all going through, is our nervous system is getting an upgrade. And, it's time really for us to heal it. And, I'm standing on the playground, just having a conversation with her, because I believe it's a her in this lifetime. And she's more feminine, probably because I'm more feminine, but there's that masculine side to everything too. So I have a little bit of masculine in there. And so going into this story of the nervous system and wanting to heal, that I'm actually telling her, hey, we're safe. Look at me. We've gotten through it. We're going to get through it. We've learned some experiences. It wasn't necessarily easy. But the thing is though that we were not there when the nervous system got hit when I was younger, being bullied, my first marriage and a little bit of the early years of my second marriage, that I'm married to now, that nervous system does get a little bit worn down when it's in fear and flight, especially, if you have the ADHD thing, it's like that trauma induced ADHD. You learn how to just stay moving, stay going, stay being. And that's the thing is that, so talking about the wave of life, riding the wave of life, it is about healing that nervous system part of us. And that is, on all sides, doing the vitamins, taking care of yourself with good diet, taking care of yourself with restfulness, reading the room, is this a safe place to be in the room that you're in? Sometimes, you have to learn to have good boundaries when you have nervous system stuff being worked with and worked on. And it is about, how do you negotiate your story? What do you do to talk to yourself? I'm empowered, we're empowered, we're all empowered, all these different things to help ourselves negotiate where we're at. And I know for me that finding a purpose in our day-to-day life is kind of interesting right now. Why am I even, truths are being so ripped apart right now. And, we have here in the US, our government doing certain things that isn't necessarily so easy to experience. But at the same time, though, you know, like the Venezuelan thing, I honor this and I'm asking for healing on this. That there's some people that are like going, well, isn't this like, Russia and your and over in there and and that kind of thing, but it is, but it isn't, right? It is, but it isn't. And I know there's a lot of Venezuelan people and I want to honor everybody's belief system, but it's like they're saying, yes, this is good and this is not, and some people are saying, it's not. And that's the truth of things, is that's it. We're all not all in the same boat. Right. And, we're coming up in this time of understanding of our realities are shifting and changing. And, the wisdom that we're gaining from this understanding of, and I'm just going to say the words, the Matrix, because that's, the movie just kind of gave us that grace right there, is that the matrix has been changing up and our world has been changing up. So how do you negotiate through your story, and how do you negotiate through a lot of your belief system? And sometimes we have to be very flexible, but that's hard on the nervous system. And so that's where making sure you take enough bees and staying off the sugars and staying off like the energy drinks that I know a lot of people are taking. And it's not wrong to do these things, but it's like when your adrenals are struggling, when you're on I've been, kind of trying to stay off of that insulin resistance story because I know I slipped into it quickly. And, and it's not that I did on my trip, but at the same time, though, it's interesting how when we can, heal a lot of these things in us, it's amazing. So, um, it is time for you to honor your truth. And that's one thing when I'm talking about on this show is that your truth is your truth. Mine is mine. I'm understanding a lot of these things and I'm trying to stay as neutral as I can in the belief system of where we're at because we're all in the midst of these big changes. And, to find a purpose and, you know, finding a purpose in life is not always easy. And you know, like the other day, I was standing on the playground wondering, why am I even in this world right now? And then here comes a little kid up to me and just gives me a hug. And it's like, well, there's my purpose, right? So, it's these little inch by inch, everything can make a difference in our reality. And that's the thing is that if you think about a slug or a snail or an inchworm or, those kinds of things that, it's not the bigger picture right now, but it's that individual little moments that we see ourselves being purposeful or interactable. It's like even like I was, walking around the store the other day and I had people smiling at me and I was smiling at them and, saying hi, I hope you have a blessed day, happy, New Year's, I was available, had a conversation about people about canning food and making dog food, and it was just like I was available to receive and to give and to receive and to give. And those are those moments that, are the ladders to being purposeful with our life. It's not the big things. It's that slug going inch by inch, right? Or millimeter by millimeter sometimes, getting where they're at. Because all of a sudden, you're doing something, all of a sudden there's a slug there. Well, how did they get there? They got there by doing little bits at a time. And so think about life when you are in the struggle of doing something, you know, get into, those little moments. Those little moments make a difference, like, the other day when I was watching a video, she said that, my life was worth 30 seconds, try to give a little grace when somebody pulls out, or you're trying to pull out in traffic. Try to give a little bit more grace in that journey because sometimes that 30 seconds can give somebody else a grace to move forward where they need to be. And we're not rushing necessarily into that moment. And so, if you can, honor where you're at and what you're doing with what's happening and believing that the inch by inch things can matter and we're in this big change and our bodies are being hit by a lot. So there again, take care of it. Do what you need to do to be where you're at. And, I would love to hear how you're taking care of yourself because these times, going into this new year and happy new year, by the way, this one's going to be an interesting year. Again, we're in the midst of these 3 years, 2025, 26, and 27, where our realities are going to change a lot. Our governments are going to be changing up. The star beings are going to be coming more availably aware of how much they've been actually interacting on our planet already. It's like our food is coming up into some new realities. And so I know it's hard for me to find food that actually my body wants to eat. And it's not fun, it's really not fun to negotiate that. But there again, it's like, I don't know for you, but I know for me with this, my body, not necessarily catching what's going along, but it's like hard to catch my breath lately. But I know that that's a little bit of my iron, and my muscles are being weak, and that's part of my iron, and that's part of a lot of those things. And my body's doing this upgrade of reality, and plus is again another year older, right? And so going into this, that we're having these scenarios that are happening, and it's not a bad reality. that we're in. It's a perception that we're in. And so what is your perspective and perception in the realities that you're in? And, boundaries right now are so palatable and we need to have them, right? We need to have our boundaries. Cranky people around us. Do we interact with it or do we put boundaries around it? Um, it's a belief system. Am I the victim or or am I the boundary person, right? So how do you find your rhythm in your life? How do you find where you're at in your life? Because you know those little things can make a difference. I started going through the house a little bit more since I got back and making some choices, and I had a coworker who was needing to rehome one of her cats, and because of the way that her toddler was I don't want to say tormenting the cat, but a toddler and a cat sometimes don't always go in rhythm. So I got a new cat, Raja, and she's not even a week into our house, so she's finding her rhythm. And because I know Rocky, my cat, wasn't going to come back, and he said that he wasn't going to be coming back, and I believe that. And so maybe Raja is his gift for me, that he's been doing that. So we have to find those why are we here's things, because that's how we get through our day-to-day life. And sometimes we wonder what's the purpose of our life. And it's actually to experience, right? So there's the balance between doing and being. Sometimes we have to do to be, and we have to be to do. And that's kind of really what I wanted to talk today is that I'm really finding that that it's good to be. It's good to be where you're at. Be in the moment. Be in awareness. Be in observation. Be in the grace of what's happening. Be in the witnessing of what people are going through. Be in the story of how we can and do, right? But the thing is, though, sometimes when we are in the midst of being too much, I feel this is what I'm experienced lately, and it's like we're not necessarily feeling that motivation to get up in the morning. Sometimes we have to start doing again because our physical body needs to do. And that's where, maybe doing the stairs a couple more times, doing, lifting up your can of vegetables that you're getting out of the counter just a little bit more often. So doing can really help with that purpose of driving forward, because I know that really a lot of people felt like this new year wasn't the beginning of the new year. It was, yeah, it turned 2026, but actually the year's not going to start, especially if you're in the northern hemisphere here, that the year is not going to start really until till April, March, April. And we're probably gonna feel like the gas pedal goes on again. We're kinda in that sleepy bear moment right now, right? Especially if you're living in the northern hemisphere. You're feeling in that sleepy bear moment of wisdom coming forward. And I know that down in the southern hemisphere, you're probably feeling a little bit the same thing because you're going into the fall time. And so there again is that we're having that clash of it's a new year, we got to get motivated, we got to new intentions. Hmm. There again, body needs oxygen, right? And I'm not tired necessarily, just like I needed to get some oxygen in my body. And so we're in the midst of these big changes and these big understandings, and taking some deep breaths in life. But then is the air able to be breathed well? And, that's where I trust it more in my house than I do outside sometimes with sometimes what's happening out there. I'm not going to name it and claim it, but, how do you negotiate this? Is that you really start finding your rhythm in your story. You really start negotiating how you are, and find the purpose of doing the things that you're doing while being in the moment where you're doing it. Be in a witness, be in observation, be in quiet if you can. I know for me that we've been getting some storms coming through this northwest area, and it's not that they've been bad or good, but it's just kind of put me on the playground a little bit by myself. I'm not really connected with the people around me right now. And I'm just kind of sitting there, just being an observer of life and doing things. And it's been kind of interesting, holding that understanding that it is about finding the rhythm of it. And like today, I was sitting underneath an umbrella, and it's funny because this one girl that I have known since she was in kindergarten, and she's now, I think, is she in fifth grade or sixth grade? That, she's been coming up to me lately and just having conversation, and it's been kind of interesting because we've never really had a connection, and now we're having this connection, and it's kind of interesting how, being by myself, witnessing the realities around me, and then all of a sudden having these kids that just come up to me and just sit there and just have these general conversations can really assist in the wisdom can really assist in the wisdom of the purpose of that's why I'm here. And that's part of the being while doing, because I was standing on the playground, doing my job, being in the space where I was at, witnessing the kids around me because that's my job. So I was doing that. And then I was being with the students that I was with, being with myself in the conversation, being kind of graceful with it and rhythm with it. And, it's a moment, and, yeah, it's where you can honor who you are and what you're doing. And, I just want everybody to know that you have grace within you. And so be that. So, right now, I feel like it's a great time. I've been asking who wants to be channeled today, and nobody's really come up to me because I've been kind of a little bit, you know, kind of in my body a little bit. I've been asking for spirit to help, and sorry, I'm not tired. Like I said, my body is like asking for oxygen. And while I'm talking out, not really breathing in. And so it's like I need to bring some oxygen in my body. And so tonight's show might be a little bit shorter because of this energy that I'm doing right now. So I'm checking in to see who wants to channel today. Mikhail wants to come in. So Mikhail wants to come in, and Mikhail is a star being. He is one who um, honors us like Bashar does, and with a couple other star beings that are choosing to come in. And when we are in the midst of hearing from him, remembering your truth is your truth. If you don't believe in me channeling, remembering that it's just about the words. It's not about the who's and the what's. It's about what is being said for you to help you in your truth, in your understanding. So if something doesn't rise up, hi Paula, how are you today? Yay, Mikkel. Yeah. And, it's a moment. And so coming into our story that, remember your truth is your truth. And it's just about a moment. So, um, thank you too for being here. I'm so grateful. And I hope that everybody had a great holiday season and a great new year coming in, and everybody's feeling blessed. And Paula, tell me how was your I talked to Veronica and kind of heard how her holidays were a little bit, but I was preoccupied with my story, so I sorry, Veronica. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I mean, I asked what it was like, but I didn't ask really how it happened. So, um, yeah, sometimes you just gotta be in the moment of being helped. So I appreciate you, Veronica, for holding space for me the other day. Okay, so Mikkel, here I come down. Hello, everybody. How are you? You have come through some tremendous things in this holiday season with you're on your planet. And you have come forward into a lot of understandings and the wisdom of life. And remembering that what is happening around this world and the physicalness with a lot of people, that the people of this planet have been all upgraded. And so that's why a lot of people are walking around a little bit like zombies. They're not, though. They are not zombies. They are aligning with the new energy that they do not really realize. They are all in the midst of some big shifts and changes. And, this young lady here, she went through a lot of upgrade herself because of the person that she was interacting with was needing her to hold space. And she did actually quite well, even though there was parts of her that struggled, that she did do really well with the things. So perfectionism right now needs to be part of the old story, not the new one, because as you go into a new understanding and the wisdom, that you will find some more grace for yourself without the perfectionism. We are all in the midst of these upgrades, planets to planets to planets to planets to planets to planets, all planets right now in the ecosystem of many different solar systems are being upgraded right now. And we are all in the midst of shifting into this new reality. So you are not alone in this. And that's the thing of when you realize that on this planet itself, there's many layers of understanding. And now the scientists are actually finding their way through these different layers. And that's why, you really can see that in the Arctic system that there are maybe some animals that we thought were extinct and they're not extinct anymore because that dimension has been a witnessed an awareness coming forward. So when we are in the midst of these upgrades, remembering, be careful of the language you use. Like this dear one, I'm so grateful that she has not been saying, oh, the symptoms of her body is because she's turning XYZ age, right? No, it's because her body is getting upgraded. Age has nothing to do with how the body should feel. The body is a representation of how you've been taking care of it. And that's why this dear one is not going through the rabbit hole of illnesses because she's been taking care of her body. And that body sense of self is awareness of who and what is happening. And it's was funny when she went to the chiropractor was doing certain things and he was like fiddling and he was like feeling like there was something that was still off. And she pointed to a certain spot on her hip and he did it and it was needing to be looked at. So, trusting your knowings about your personal body is a good thing. It's about not sitting. Remember that, no matter where you're at and what you're doing, you can always find a purpose. Sometimes so you are the light of somebody's darkness. Sometimes you're the pivot point of somebody's shifting. You may need to be the peg that's in the ground so that something else can shift around you, right? And then you can make decisions after that shift because why make decisions in the middle of a shift? Make decisions after the shift. And because you don't know what that shift is going to be, right? So it's about shifting with things, but understanding sometimes those boundaries need to be set up. This dear one is focusing on certain things, and that's a good thing because her frequency, she's wanting to stay up, but yet some of this nervous system that she's working is keeping her at a lower vibration. And that's okay because right now, without being grounded, without being centered in her body, she's not going to be able to elevate. And that's the thing is that you have to understand that all parts of you need to go into your new journey of this reality coming in. That means the nervous system, the body, the blood, the organs, the soul, the spirit, the brain, the emotions, all of the and more need the cellular system of your body, the DNA, the those primal places of yourself that you did not have a choice with can really the gene pool, the genes of who you are not the genes you are. They're the makeup of your system. And so when you're talking about all these things need to be upgraded into your new reality. So hold up into your understanding that you're going to be perfectly imperfect. If you need to lay down for a few minutes and close your eyes, do so. It will help your body later, like this dear one when she was on the plane. Even though the plane was ready to land within probably 25 minutes, that she felt that urge to close her eyes. Well, she closed her eyes, which was a good thing, and she did not sleep necessarily, but she went into kind of a meditation place because she knew that she was going to be driving all the way home for another hour and a half. And so if she would not have done that, she would have forced her body to keep the eyes open, to keep going and keep doing what she was doing, then she would have been more needing to close her eyes on the way north on the freeway, right? So do what you can do when you can do it because the body needs you to hear it and witness it and love it through our new story. I've heard a couple people around that you have been really noticing that your body is asking you something or telling you something. Hallelujah. It is time for us all to believe that and understand that we are all in the midst of these big changes. So it's time for you to believe and heal what can be healed right now. And that is a lot of inner work. That's a lot of child work right now, probably, that is asking to be healed, i.e., this dear one's has been helping others do that. That when she can heal that, and that's the nervous system also that needs to be wanting to be healed. Doesn't necessarily need to be, but it's wanting to be healed, right? So it's time for us all to walk into this new reality of 2026, the 10-year, right? The 10-year can really be a wholesome year, the one of new beginnings and the zero of homeness, of home where we're at. It's that frequency. What numbers do you see in our communication as star people? It is ones and zeros, right? So you are walking into a universal year of communication with others. So take home what is the communication you're having with others. Slow down the conversation sometimes. Many times we hurry through conversations instead of slowing down and honoring what needs to happen. And you never know the synchronicities that will come up. So believe in you. Remember to take a deep breath once in a while. That is very important right now. Do it in a safe place. Do it in a safe understanding. And remembering that as you walk forward, you're going to have some emotions. You're going to have some body situations. Remembering to hold into who you are. And remember, find where things are made. That is important right now. Where are they coming from? Because when you find out where things are coming from, you can make a better choice what goes into your body. So be it. And may love be with you. May you know that you are loved, and may that you know that you are all coming into a purpose of being here. And that is your soul's walk to enjoy the dance. Oh, I love that word she uses. The dance of the wisdom that is going to come from being on this planet at this time. Many of your souls are waking up to the greatness that it is, and that you who have understandings and knowings are going to be the holders of the understanding that you are perfectly safe and okay through that awakening of the soul's interaction with what it is meant to do. May love and blessings be with you all. So be. Oh, celebrating Russian Christmas today. Yes, thank you, Paula. Thank you. And thank you all for being here. I'm so grateful that you are here. Um, I hope that that message was good for you. Oh my gosh, it was a helpfulness for me. I gleaned off a couple of things. So I'm going to be pulling some oracle cards. The wisdom of Oracle is wisdom of Avalon is the one I'm going to be pulling. And thank you for being here, whoever's been here to witness that journey. Oop, and I should pull the cards the other way. What's on the bottom? The mystery. The mystery is on the bottom. Makes you wonder what the mystery is going to be, right? So let's get some clarity for you. So Veronica, first one's for you. And then Paula, I know you always like one. Woo! I have to go get that card, Veronica. It walked over here. Actually, it flew over here. It flew over here. Okay, so let's see. Oh, truth. Ain't that a story? So remembering that walking in your truth is very important. As the people around you are trying to push their truth on you, going back to work. I hope that your day has been blessed with going back to work. That people are really feeling wonky right now, and so they're trying to really push their truths on us, and sometimes they don't really necessarily feel quite right. So understand your truth is your truth. There's one more card that wants to come out for you, my dear Veronica. What's the card that wants to come up for Veronica? Woo! No, you don't need all these. Yes, you probably want all of them. Well, let's go through them. No, yes, no. Yes, no. I'm hearing yes, no. Okay. So I'm going to go quickly through them. Okay. So stand in your empowerment because you got wiseness coming. Remembering that communication is important, but it may not always be straightforward. That's why the card is upside down. Do not go with what feels restrictive to you, because that's when your truth is going to need to come out and your self-empowerment is going to be, because you have a partnership coming up, and it's partnership with your soul self. So be ready for that. And because as you go through the water of emotions and story, that you're going to find the wisdom of the focus of where you need to be, right? You're going to find the focus of where you need to be. Because the magic of Merlin wants to be with you, right? The magic of Merlin wants to be with you as you go through and get the nectar of life, right? The sweetness of life. And it's finding your soul self, because do not let fear hold you back as you come into your empowerment. Now, she is upside down right now. And so with that your empowerment may not be turned on yet, but springtime, it may be empowering for you. So remembering that just because we don't have power right now doesn't mean we're not empowered, right? Because of the fact that the earth wants to ground you and support you in your journey, but she is giving you rest right now while you sleep, because you have love in yourself. So remember to love yourself. Work with that, right? And then the power of dragon. Oh, the fire of dragon wants to be with you as you grace yourself into the new web that you're weaving in your move that you're making, because the mystery will come forward as you get the greater vision. Well, Veronica, I think that was very empowering, wasn't it? You may have to go back and watch that. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But it's all about coming back to communication for you. Remembering communication. Remember what we talked about with me, what I was learning about communication, right? So it's all about communication. Oh my. I guess that's what the universe wanted to tell you. I will rewatch, yeah, because it was pretty quick. I know. I apologize. So I know a couple people are watching now. So, and I'm sorry that you're coming to the end of my show here. But if you want an oracle card, then please just say card, please, and I'd be grateful to be able to support you in that. So Paula, these are for you. Whoo, okay, I gotta get some clarity on that card. I'm not gonna say that card yet uh, because I need clarity on that card. Okay, there's something else brewing in that card. Let me get more because I want to give you a time for everything. Hi, Natasha. I was able to tune in after a minute missing the show. Could I have a card, please, as well? Yes, you may. Okay. So, Paula, I wanted to get some clarity on this. Okay. So as you know, I always send love, and I love this card because remembering it's a 46. So 4 plus 6 is a 10. So 10, you're walking into this 10-year, remember? And so this is concise about this understanding. So the first card that I got was a death card. Okay. That's the death of the old belief systems, the old stories, the old wisdom. But remember that it's a 10 card. The 46 is a 10 card. And so remembering that every ending is a new beginning because it's about finding your new truth. So a lot of this is about the story of your old belief system that might be going away because of the new truths that you're going to be finding yourself, because it's time for you to be empowered with where you're at and what you're doing. It's time for you to really honor who you are, because even though you may need to go through the darkness of your reality, it is really time to honor your enlightenment. It's really in time to know that you can stand in your power even though there's darkness around you. There's a lot of unease going on around you. And so with that, it's time for you to really honor the owl wisdom that you're going to be gaining through this timeline in your life. Your owl wisdom is huge right now, my dear. And so remembering that owl represents the death to rebirth, that's the ancient wisdom of a lot of the Native Americans and the First Nations and a lot of the tribes around is that the owl represents death, but that's not necessarily death of you, but it's the death of something around you, the death of understanding. So you have that kind of you have that understanding, and those are bookends for you for the truth and the refocus being the queen. So the queen says woman, fertility, focused power, feminine power, sexuality, and friendship. It's a 4 card. And then the truth card is a 6 card. So look up those numbers and that will help. You're really coming into a lot of like shaking it off like a dog. Remember a dog when it gets out of mud or water or whatever it is, it shakes off. So remember to shake off a lot of this energy. I know I have shaken off a lot of things. I've smudged myself. I've done the singing bowls before I started doing the show. It's like, it's about that beginning of your new self. And thank you for saying yay. Exactly right. Yeah, because it is about, understanding that our old story, because that's our old life. Like I was thinking the other day that my childhood, that was another lifetime. Was I even that kid, even though this body has that memory? Was I that kid? Who was I that person 10 years ago? I have that memory, but was I that person? I've been having some really interesting thoughts around the energies that are coming forward onto our planet, that it's like we are all in these dimensional shifts, but what reality do we want to be? Because that was then, this is now, right? So it's about that story. Okay, so JH, thank you for being here. Okay, this card is for you. A time for everything. I love that. Time for everything. Okay, Jessica. Okay. Thank you for being here. I know it's Jessica. I was going to say, hi, Jessica. Before I even saw that, I was like, I thought that was you, Jessica. But I love that. It's time for everything. There is a time for everything if we witness it, because everything's happening at the same time, right? No, I thought it was you, sweetie. Thank you for being here. Woo! Okay. Okay, let's get some clarity on that cards. Let's get some clarity on those cards before I say something. Kind of, they're not the death card, but there's something about it. Okay. Yes, you want to come out. Okay. And then one more. That one once turned over. Okay. So you're probably feeling right now a little bit of restriction and while trying to take risk, right? You want to take you're afraid to take risk maybe, but then there's restriction that holds you back. And so there's a conflict of this. So these cards are a 40 and an 8. Woo-hoo. So think about that. The restriction is an 8 card, as above, as below, right? The infinity sign. That and then the 4, right? The 4 of risk, but they're all the same kind of path, right? It depends on our perception. So remembering that the Queen wants to come in and bring some empowerment to you, but it may not be time to jump yet. That's why it's feeling a little risky and you're feeling a little restriction, because it may not be time to jump yet. So get your feet underneath you. Like for me, I got told that I need to do some, buckling down, making some hard decisions, getting some deep understandings, like if I want to spend $1, what am I spending that dollar on? Really getting down to some deep focus, right? So here's the cards that I pulled afterwards. So the High Priestess wants to come in, and that's about discernment and presence and privacy, prophecy and vision, and that's a 2 cards. So remembering you have to brew your magic to get going, to be in the empowered self, because we do not want we want the balance between the masculine and the feminine, right? We want the balance of the masculine and the feminine. So the masculine wants to come in, which is a 3 card, man, authority, male sexual energy, thought, pertaining to law and justice. So remembering that as you come forward, that the balance between the masculine and the feminine may be happening for you, because it's time for you to trust in the greater magic that is coming, because Merlin wants to be there. So focus on the more positive, focus on the wisdom, so that your emotions don't necessarily stop you from the restriction and the risk, right? So your emotions are here to help you. Talk with them, be with them, understand them, show them that you can do it, because you don't want them to be restricted, because everything in between, right, is about being empowered. It's about being empowered, but you got to focus on the frequency. What frequency do you want to be in? What energy do you want to be in? It doesn't mean necessarily, like my mantra this month is, I'm finding joy in my life. It doesn't mean happiness. It's about satisfaction. I'm okay where I'm at. I'm kind of joyful about where I'm at, right? And so it's about the focus that we have, because remembering that the universe really does not have an understanding of negative to positive. It's all about our perception. Our perception is going to have it more negative. Our perception might have it more positive. But that's the thing is that it's going to be what it's going to be. The universe is going to give us what we focus on, right? And so that's where, even though I've been going through some negative stuff, I was really working on not focusing on it. I was focusing on the message of it. What was interactive with me? What was talking to me at that time? What was I to play in this interactive game in it, right? Because it's about what I wanted to focus on was not the rabbit hole. It was focusing on the movement of the hole that it was working with, right? So it's about trusting ourselves and about moving forward, okay? So I'm going to pull. Thank you, Jessica, for being here. I'm going to pull a card. A card. That's a joke lately, isn't it? For what we are to work on for this next year, for next month or so. Cat energy. Cat energy. Be okay with what you're at. You know, like my Raja, I have a new cat. She came to me on Saturday. So she's only been in the house for not even a full week yet. And she's starting to find her rhythm, even though she's in a new story, right? She's in a new story. She moved. It's a new story. And she's with new people, new house, new understandings. She's 10 years old. So she's got a little bit of old story with herself, right? So, but that cat energy is about staying on our feet. It's about staying in our purpose. What is our purpose? Oh, squirrel, right? The cat looks after squirrel. Oh, bug. I'm going to go after the bug. So go after what the universe is wanting you to go through. Now, remembering that the cat knows what its tails and its whiskers doing. It has an opinion. It's story. Now, my new cat is a tortie, right? It's a tortie shell. And tortoise shells are a little bit more opinionated. They're a little bit more fiery. They're a little bit more going forward. And my Maya was very much that way. And Raja's going to be a little bit that same way. And she's already given me the tortie look, like, don't touch me yet. You know, it's like she's already hissed a little bit because she's been like, no, this is not my story. But that's the boundaries, right? Now, she's not my cat that's on the front porch that's feral, that wants to be petted, wants to come in the house, but she just can't. Right? So cat energy is going to be very wise for us right now. It's time to sleep when we need to sleep. It's time for us to go into a dark corner when we need to go in a dark corner. But don't stay in the dark corner. You need to get out and eat. You need to get out and move. You need to do some exercise. Remember, if you sleep too much, you're going to lose your body shape. I noticed for me when I was in Florida that Florida's flat. Everything's flat. The houses are flat, right? And I'm like, I come home and I have to do stairs. And I was like, oh my gosh. So move your body. It's time for us to move our body, even if it's slow. Like there's that commercials on TV or on my phone when I'm playing a game is about Tai Chi walking. Tai Chi walking is not stressful. It's very graceful for the body. So honor yourself where you're at and do what you can do because it is about finding your rhythm. Okay. This is going to be a little bit shorter show, and I'm asking for you to find your rhythm in your reality and remembering that you are loved. I will be back next Wednesday talking on my show again. So I'm back on the normal rhythm of my reality and look for my posts through social media that I've been doing. The mantra this month is I am finding joyfulness in my life by doing what I need to do, even if you're just sitting on the couch and honoring that moment, that can be joyful for you. So believe in you and remembering that your wisdom is here for you. Trust your instincts. You are becoming more and more empowered. So believe in your truth, believe in your gut feelings about things. It's going to lead you. It's going to lead you because there's so many truths out there right now. Then it's time for you to believe. If you're looking for some assistance, I would be grateful to support you in a session if you would like. I'm still having 10% off all my sessions. I'm going to be doing that through probably until February, the beginning of February. So remembering that is part of the gift of coming into this new life we're believing. So I'm Natasha Venter, intuitiveclarifications.com, loving you and honoring you for where you're at and remembering you are human doing the spiritual experience and you're a spiritual being doing the human experience. May love be with you. Bye now.